everyone, my name is Caitlin Callahan, and I've decided to do my presentation on obtaining, evaluating, and communicating scientific information. To begin, I want to discuss what communication is, and there are two types. So, there's scientific communication and engineering communication. Scientific communication allows students to share their explanations, while engineering communication allows students to share their solutions. So there are formal and informal communication. Formal communication is a way of communicating through publishing results that scientists want to communicate and receive their feedback on from their scientific peers. So the way that they do that is by publishing journals, books, presentations. They give presentations, whether it's in a formal setting as in symposiums or even like in a classroom setting, which is also a formal way to give a presentation. And they also publish their data and results and solutions and findings on websites. And informal communication is a way of communicating that involves everyday activities such as like face-to-face talking, emailing over like an online platform, texting, phone call, and blogging. Some difficulties that students find when trying to actually get involved in science and learning how to get excited about it is that students have a hard time understanding their scientific jargon that the texts use. So meaning that students typically, when they see a big word that they don't understand, they find that their interest is decreasing and they're not engaged anymore. And then they also have an issue with extracting information from the text. This is due to the video mentioned that this was because it's not written as a narrative or a story that students can see. So maybe if we decided to actually break down what science is, then that would be beneficial. So the last issue or difficulty that students find is that science textbooks and publications anywhere are multimodal, which means that the text switches between graphics, text, images, data, and graphs. So like when I was in elementary school and I was reading about let's say cells, they would show an image of a cell in the middle of my text, and I'd have an issue or a hard time going back and forth between like reading what it was about and then forgetting as I try to understand the graph. So it's important that students and teachers communicate in a way that's easy to understand. So like I said, a goal is to help students contain information and then so creating their own. So in doing that, we want them to be able to read their textbooks, be able to communicate their own understanding, whether that's through presentation, writing in their science notebook, etc. So our progression through K through 12 is that educators must talk about explicit instruction. So we need to teach scientific reading. So we need to be able to teach them the scientific jargon. We need them to be able to look through both narrative and scientific journals while we show students how to interpret that data that they're finding. We also need to show students how to understand tables and show students how to explain graphics and interpret graphs in their scientific notebook to friends and to their peers. We also need to educate students on how to communicate their own understanding and findings. So that's typically through the use of a scientific notebook. So they need to be able to include their own drawings, include numbers that they found in their data, words that they've used or heard the teacher use, data, scientific guesses, and results. So through all of this that I've discussed, we learn how to obtain, evaluate, and communicate scientific information within ourselves as an educator and a teacher.